The year is 2006. In the Panjwai district in Kandahar province, Afghanistan, is a Taliban fortress. Afghanistan is Canada's major mission in the global war on terror, and Operation Medusa was our big swing to break the Taliban's grip on the region. Over 1,000 insurgents dug into mud compounds, irrigation ditches, and fields so thick with subpar marijuana that you could barely see the enemy's muzzle flashes. The 1st Battalion, Royal Canadian Regiment, were tasked with leading the charge backed by US troops, Afghan forces, and NATO air power. The plan? Hammer the Taliban with bombs for 3 days, and then roll in. But even the best laid plans don't survive first contact with the enemy. Intel had missed just how deep the enemy was entrenched. There was an AK in every Taliban hand, RPGs in schoolhouses, machine guns in every shadow. By September 3rd, the Canadians were in a meat grinder, facing 15 days of brutal fighting that cost 12 lives, 5 in one weekend alone. This wasn't just a battle, it was a test of who'd break first. Hi there, everyone. My name is Mario Gaudet, former Army Reservist and someone who grew up as a military brat. Welcome to Real Canadian Heroes, the series where we shine the light on the men and women who define true Canadian grit and courage. Today, in our 3rd episode, we dive once again into the firestorm of Operation Medusa in Afghanistan, September 2006. One soldier, Corporal Sean Teal, stared down an ambush, bled for his comrades, and walked away a legend. Before we begin, like, share, and subscribe in order to help the channel. Grab a seat, rest the feet, and let's get ready to honor a real Canadian hero. Corporal Sean Teal, age 25, was a driver with 7th Platoon, Charles Company, 1 RCR out of Petawawa. Born in 1981 in Chatham, Ontario, a blue-collar town on the Thames River where winters bite and community runs deep. He grew up in a modest, working-class family that instilled values of hard work and quiet resilience. As a kid, he was the type who would tinker with bikes in the driveway or lace up skates for endless pond hockey games, dreaming big in a place where opportunity meant earning it. High school at Chatham Collegiate Institute sharpened his focus. He was athletic, reliable, and by all accounts, the friend you could count on for a straight answer or hand with chores. It was there, amid the hallways, buzzing with small-town ambition, that Sean felt the pull of military service. After graduating, he enlisted in the Canadian Forces in the early 2000s, trading in textbooks for combat boots and finding his stride in the disciplined rhythm of infantry life at CFB Petawawa. Now, I'm to understand that Sean was a lot like other Canadian heroes, quiet, steadfast, and the kind who would share with you the last coffee packet from an MRE without even bragging about it. On the fateful morning of September 3rd, 2006, he's behind the wheel of a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. Think a light utility vehicle, kind of like maybe a Jeep on steroids. Gucci is all hell, leather seats, but yeah. And he's heading towards Objective Rugby, a Taliban-held hotspot near the White School. Then, boom, an RPG tears into the side of his ride. The blast rips the vehicle apart. Shrapnel cuts into Teal's body. Blood is pooling, but he's alive, thrown clear. His section commander, Warrant Officer Rick Nolan, killed on impact. A mentor, gone in a flash. Shane Stachnik, mortally wounded, barely hanging on. And Corporal Richard Feroy, the platoon's medic, Sean's buddy, is trapped. His legs are shredded, face torn up, and he's slipping. The irony is this: the guy that was trained to save lives now needs saving himself. All around them, over 250 Taliban fighters engage in an L-shaped ambush. RPGs, AKs, the works. It's complete chaos. Radio reception is spotty, The platoon is scattered and the enemy is quickly closing in. Here's where Sean Teal becomes more than a soldier. Wounded, he scrambles to a ditch, grabs a rifle, and lays down fire to keep the Taliban at bay. Bullets are snapping past his head, but he's not done. He sprints through the kill zone to flag down a vehicle. Sergeant Scott Fawcett's crew already packed with evacuees. No room for the wounded here, so Fawcett and Teal make a call. Fawcett pushes the platoon forward and Teal stays, alone, bleeding. And he goes back to the wreck of his vehicle. In the first trip, he reaches for Roy. The medic is fading fast. Teal slaps on tourniquets and drags him over 50 meters to cover, RPGs exploding around them. "Hang on, man," he says, keeping Feroy alive. He got him to safety. He goes back for a second trip, back to the wreck of his destroyed G-Wagon. He begins treating Stashnik's wounds. He evacuates Nolan's body. Nobody is left behind. Corporal Teal coordinates a medevac with Fawcett, all while shooting back at the Taliban. This isn't Hollywood. This is a guy choosing his comrades over his own skin, twice under fire. This is why his platoon made it out, because of Teal's cool head and iron will. Ottawa took notice. On October 12, 2007, Teal stood at Rideau Hall, awarded the Star of Military Valour, Canada's second highest honour for combat bravery. The citation reads as such: "Brave and professional actions that saved lives and allowed for the orderly withdrawal under heavy fire." But some say it's not enough. In 2022, veterans pushed for Teal's SMV to be upgraded to the Victoria Cross, arguing that his actions, running into an ambush twice, rivaled the highest standards of gallantry. But Teal, though, he shrugs it off. "I was just doing my job." I grew up alongside military personnel and served alongside them. Just doing my job doesn't begin to cover it. So why the Victoria Cross? Let's sum it up. The VC demands extraordinary risk and decisive impact. Teal ran twice into a 250-strong Taliban ambush, wounded with RPGs and bullets raining down upon him, to save his platoon medic, recover his fallen commander and another comrade. He did not just save lives. His actions stopped a platoon from collapsing, letting them regroup and retreat in order. Veterans argue that this matches VC-level heroism, such as Jess La Rochelle's stand at Panjwai. Critics of the SMV decision point out that in 2006, Canada was cautious awarding VCs, with none given since the inception of Canada's award in 1993, and not a single VC of any kind going to any Canadian since 1945. They say Teal's case deserves a second look to honor the sheer audacity of his choices under fire. Whether or not Ottawa agrees, the push for the VC shows just how deeply veterans and brothers in arms respect his actions that day. Medusa left scars. 12 Canadians didn't come home. Rick Nolan, Shane Stachnik, Mark Graham, William Cushley, Frank Mellish, and many others. Teal himself carries the weight, the memories of that burning G-Wagon. But his actions saved Feroy, preserved his platoon, and cleared a path for Panjwai's rebuilding. That's the thing about heroes like Teal. They don't just fight wars. They fight for the guy next to them. And that fight doesn't end when the bullets stop. Nearly 2 decades later, Sean Teal remains a quiet force in the veteran community, advocating for physical fitness as a pillar of resilience, reminding us that physical strength can anchor the mind through the long haul after battle. Sean Teal's story isn't about one day in 2006. It's about standing tall when the world around you is falling apart. As a kid growing up on bases, I saw that spirit in the service members around me, and I felt it when I served as a reservist. Corporal Teal ran towards the fire for his comrades and brothers in arms. That makes him a real Canadian hero. If stories like this mean a lot to you, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications about our uploads. Make sure to like and share the video and leave a comment. For those we lost that day, and all the others we lost in countless other battles, lest we forget. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one, eh?